What's going on, guys? Welcome to the final lesson of this section. In this one, we're going to do a fun practice and we're going to create a really cool program that is going to play the rock, paper, scissors game with us. If you're familiar with this game, I'm sure this is something that most of people know. Rock, paper, scissors is a game that you choose one, either rock, paper, or scissors, and the other person, in this case the computer, is going to choose another one, and based on what you choose, one's gonna win, one's gonna lose. If you're not familiar with this game, just Google it. Rock, paper, scissors. The rules of it are pretty simple. Rock wins against paper wins against rock, and rock wins against scissors, and paper scissor wins against paper. And again, there's a lot of rules about this game, so we're going to talk about this. We're going to actually build this game. So let me show you the final version of this. So I got this final version here, and if you actually run it, and again, it's going to ask you, what do you choose? Type rock, paper, or scissors. I'm just going to say paper, for example, and it's going to say user chose paper and the computer chose paper. It's a draw. So again, it's a draw. So let's do it one more time. I'm going to say rock. User chose rock and the computer chose rock. It's a draw. Wow, it's my lucky day. All right, let's do one more time. I'm going to say paper. User chose paper and computer chose scissors. Computer won. So again, we got paper, computer got scissors, computer won. So anyways, so this is how the game works. It's pretty simple, and this is what I want you to build. All right, now I want you to think about something. All right. And as always, by the way, the files are in the resource section, the files for the completed version, and also the uncompleted, like ready to use version, which is this one. So I strongly recommend trying to do it by yourself. All right. It's very, very important to do it by yourself, because one of the things I want you to understand is, programming, when it comes to programming, everybody does it in a different way. So if you just get another programmer to do this for you, I'm sure they're going to be doing it in a different way. And it's, as I said, programming is like a speaking language, right? Everybody speaks in a different way, and everybody programs in a different way. So I want you to use your own creativity and whatever you've learned so far in this section to try to build this. And if you want to use a flowchart, you can draw this on a flowchart, because what you're going to be using is, first of all, you're going to be using lists. Potentially, again, if you use whatever we've learned so far in this section, you're going to be using lists, right? So you're going to be using random function. That's very important, right? And also you're going to be using if and else statement, which is something we learned in the previous sections. So you're going to be using all this stuff. First of all, you need to figure out how you're going to decide who won or lost. How are you going to get the computer to choose a random answer? How are you going to set the rules of the game in the code? So all this stuff, you got to figure it out. So I want this to be a challenge for you. All right. I want this to be a challenge for you, and I want you to try to figure this out by yourself. Take some time, take 10-20 minutes, and try to code this for yourself. I want you to use your memory. I want you to use the abilities and everything you've learned in this section to do it by yourself. All right. And as I said, there are a lot of different ways to do the same thing in the programming. All right. Like many, many different ways to do the same single thing. And everybody programs in a different way. And it's just based on your style. And that's what I want. I want you to develop your own style. And I want you to develop your programming skills by actually trying to do it. All right. So as I said, the files are in the resource section. Start with the beginner file and try to code it. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm gonna just pause for a second, and hopefully you pause the video and try to do this, and we'll move forward from there. All right. So hopefully you took some time, you paused the video, and you tried to do it. If you failed, if you got some, errors, it's completely fine. You can actually watch me do it. And then I want you to, after this video, I want you to go back and try to redo it and see where you got it wrong. All right. Now, one of the things I want to mention before I start is that there are a lot of different ways to do this, as I said, and I'm going to do it in the least efficient way, because I want you to see exactly how it's done. I want to lay it out for you. All right. But again, I'm doing it in the most inefficient way, very, very not efficient, because and I'll explain why this is not very efficient, but we'll get to that. But yeah, so let's get started. So we're going to start by thinking about a little bit, and I want to actually think out loud as I do this, so I can explain what is going on in my mind. All right. So we got the information from the user, rock, paper, and scissors. And we here, with the default code that I just gave you guys, we turned it to a lowercase. So that's very important. So we make sure that when we get that info, however they entered, we turn it to lowercase. So that way, you know, we can work with it, right? So the next thing I want to do is I want to put all these options in a single list. And for that, the reason we want to do this is that user did enter their, you know, choice, but we need to actually get computer to actually give us a choice as well, right? So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do all options. So this is a variable, right? And I'm going to make a list, and we're going to say rock and paper, right? And scissors. All right. So we got our three options here, the rock, paper, and scissors. Perfect. So now we're going to get computer to choose a random option. All right. So as I said, guys, one of the things I want you to remember is that there are a lot of different ways to do this. All right. So just, I'm doing it as like the way I like think, because I'm not too smart, you know, and I just like I try to find the simplest possible way to actually do something. So I just want you to know that, and I'll tell you why the option of the way I'm doing it is not like too efficient. So we're going to use random numbers. So we're going to import random method, all right, to our code, and we're going to choose a random option. Again, these are the options that the computer is going to be able to choose, right? And then we're going to enter get computer to choose a random option. So first, we need to get computer to choose a random name. So if you remember when we talked about lists, the index starts from 0 and then 1, and there is 2. So what we need to do is we need to get computer to choose a number between 0 and 2, right? So we're going to do that. So I'm going to say rand, that's a random number, equals random dot rand, right? Rand int, so that's random integer. And we're going to get 0 and 2. So again, the idea with this is that we're telling computer that, hey, choose a number between 0 and 2, and this is the index for all these options that computer is going to have. All right. And next, we're going to actually make a variable called computer choice. So computer choice equals all options. All right. So we got all options, and we're going to say rand. So the idea with this is in the brackets, we're going to say rand. Essentially, what we're telling is that this computer option is, this computer choice is equals all options, basically all these options, and it's going to choose a random number, one of these random options. And keep in mind, guys, if you remember, we talked about choice method in one of the last videos of this module, right? We could make this really, really easy by using choice, but I just want to kind of do this in front of you. Like I want to like go through the details of it, right? And so yeah, so anyways, you could choice method as well. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can go back to that video and see what I did there. Anyways, so now we got the computer choice and user choice, right? So if you actually, let's actually just print this real quick. Print computer choice, and if I run this, we're gonna say user is gonna choose rock, and the computer is gonna choose paper. All right. So now computer is actually choosing a option. Cool. So the next step is actually creating the if and else statements. So the way I'm going to do this is that I'm going to do this as most inefficient way as possible. And the reason for that is because I'm not that smart, and this is just like the simplest way to put it to practice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an if and else, if and elif statement for every possible scenario that a user and a computer like enters something or like chooses something, right? So if you think about it, there are 3 options, right? And there are 3 possible ways that you can actually choose something. And there are 3 possible ways the user can actually choose something, right? Choose an option. So when you think about it, 3 times 3 is 9. Essentially, this means that there are 9 different scenarios where this can go down, right? Again, if user can choose 3 and the computer can choose 3, there are 9 different scenarios. 3 times 3 is 9. Now, you can create an if statement for every single one of these, and that's what I'm going to do right now. But again, there are a lot of different ways to do this, and especially when you're dealing with a large amount of data and you want to make sure, compare them in a different ways. You definitely don't want to compare every possible scenario. Imagine you got like thousands of different types of data you're comparing to each other, and let's say you got 1,000 on each side. 1,000 times 1,000, that's, I don't know, like a million or something. I don't know. I'm not good at math, but that's a lot of different ifs to create in a single line of code, like page of code, right? So again, you don't want to do that for large data and numbers. So just keep that in mind. So anyways, let's go ahead and create our code. So I'm going to say if user choice equals rock and computer choice equals rock, we're going to say print, we're going to say user chose rock and computer chose rock. It's a draw. There you go. So let's actually try to get this into let's actually try to run this. Hopefully, I'm going to choose rock, but I'm going to hope that the computer is going to choose rock as well, so we can actually see this in action. So I'm going to choose rock, and there you go. Actually, my lucky day again. User chose rock and computer chose rock. It's a draw. Now, if I choose rock and computer chooses like paper, for example, it's not going to return anything. Let's see if you can get that. There you go. No, again, same thing. Let's see. There you go. So in this case, I chose rock, but the computer didn't choose like the rock. So we don't have it like passing here. We don't have that option. So that way, just like nothing happened, right? So again, that's like the idea. You want to create every scenario with every single other scenario. So I'm gonna continue writing this using elif statements. We don't want to have like a lot of different if and else statements, all right? So I'm going to use elif. And we're going to say again, user choice equals rock and computer. Oh, there you go. And computer choice equals, let's say, what would be the other option? Paper, right? We're going to say print. So we're going to say print user chose rock and computer chose paper. Computer 1. Here we go. So just like that, we did the second one. Again, this is assuming we choose rock and the computer chooses paper. So let's run this and see actually if we can get this. That's a draw. Let's do it one more time. See how lucky we are these days. Not very lucky. And let's actually do the other one, like the other scenario as well. I'm gonna do another elif. We're gonna say user choice equals rock and computer. Well, gotta close this. And computer choice equals scissors, right? So we're gonna say scissors. So we're just gonna copy it, drop it right here. We're going to say print equals. I'm just gonna make sure we indent it correctly. It's very important. All right, so let's actually close this. All right, so indented. User chose rock and computer chose scissors. User 1. All right, so there you go. So we got again user chose rock and computer chose scissors. User 1. So now, based on what we have so far here, each time we choose rock, we should have a possible outcome with this code. All right, so let's say rock. It says user chose rock and computer chose paper. Computer 1. Here we go. So now we got like all the rock options, and now we got to do the same thing. We got to do the same thing for every other choose that user is gonna have, which is paper and scissors. So obviously I'm not gonna just write all these down. I'm just gonna pause the video and copy this whole thing, but that's the idea. Let me just do that and I'll get back to you. All right, everyone. So we got everything down. So now, if you take a look, we got again, we got all the raw scenarios with other possible scenarios of the computer. We got all the paper scenarios with other scenarios of the computer option, right? And then we got all the scissor scenarios with all the scenarios that the computer is going to throw at us, right? So we got 9 different if options. Now, one of the things I'd like to do, let's actually run this one more time. I'm just going to say paper, for example. It's going to say user chose paper and computer choose scissors. Computer won. All right. So one of the things I want to do is that I want you to think about this. If someone enters something that is not valid, what do we do about this? And as you see, this is going to not do anything. Like if I enter some gibberish, it's just nothing's gonna happen. So we want to just kind of catch that as well. So I'm gonna add an else statement. I'm gonna say print. So this essentially, the idea with this is that we're gonna print this if they actually enter something that is not correct. So I'm going to say invalid entry, so we catch this as well. So there you go. So if I enter gibberish, it's going to say invalid entry. Perfect. So that's pretty much it, guys. Again, there are different ways to do this, but this is like the most simplest way kind of to do it. I just want to kind of draw it out for you so you can see it in action. We used randoms, we used lists and all that stuff to just, and also if and else, which pretty much exists in every single Python program. So yeah, so that's pretty much it, guys. Let me know if you have any questions. I hope this was helpful. Again, make sure you practice. Practice is the key. Programming is a muscle and you need to put it to use. It's very, very important. All right. So thank you so much, guys. I'll see you in the next section and next videos.